welcome to the ShowRatings.tv Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay.
And I'm Olivia Richard.
And we're from ShowRatings.tv, where you can rate and review all your favorite TV shows, including the new series we're talking about tonight,
Constantine.
According to NBC's website, based on the wildly popular comic book series Hellblazer from DC Comics, seasoned demon hunter and master of the occult John Constantine is armed with a ferocious knowledge of the dark arts and a wickedly naughty wit. Olivia, we have a guest today, making her third consecutive roundtable appearance. She's moved in now and just living under the roundtable. It's Sophia Porter.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here a third week in a row.
You're back. You've made it a home. You've
Yes.
taken over.
I have. That was my goal,
Well,
obviously.
you've succeeded.
Good.
Has this Constantine pilot succeeded? You are reviewing it, Sophia.
I am reviewing
For
it.
ShowRatings.tv. And so before Olivia and I get to our hot takes on the matter, I want you to tell me what the 1 to 10 rating is for this episode and explain whether you liked it or not.
Oh, well, I'm once again going to be a little nicer than normal because this is a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times with pilots, you're getting what they think you want out of it.
Okay.
So I'm giving it a 7
Okay.
out of 10, which is not as bad as I could be, and it's not as nice as I could be, just because I don't know. That's what I'll give you right now. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
It's a 7 out of 10 for me.
Locking into 7. Olivia, what did you think?
Okay, well, the description based off of the NBC website called it, like ferocious
Uh-huh.
and wicked, and that's basically every adjective that this pilot wasn't for me. I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
Like, I would like to maybe see it rebound and be able to do well, but at the same time, but like just based off of the pilot alone, I'm not sold on it.
Yeah. Sophia, I'm gonna need you to sit down for this one. And I've already locked you in to a rating, and I did that on purpose because I don't want you to be influenced by what Olivia and I have to say. But this isn't a podcast, this is an intervention.
Oh my
And
God.
it's an intervention to tell you that this show sucks. This is very bad. This
Oh god.
is exactly the kind of sci-fi that I should like. For goodness sakes, I'm the co-host of a podcast devoted to Grimm, which precedes this on NBC, and is the kind of sort of dumb but lovable sci-fi that Constantine is surely trying to be. And I'm telling you, as someone who should like this, and who has a lot of tolerance for dumb stuff, this is really bad. This is just bad. I mean, I went in wanting to like it, and by about the 35-minute mark, I had pretty much written this series off. Even with the important caveat you made, which is that this is a pilot, and it may not represent what the finished product is. But I feel like this was so bad that even an improvement is not going to take it to a level where this is an acceptable television program. So just warning you, Sophia. That's
There it is.
there it is. That's
It's
where
out
I'm
there.
coming from. Yeah.
Okay.
So what? No, but,
Okay.
but defend your position. What did you like about this?
I love Matt Ryan,
Okay.
and it's not just because I think he's attractive.
Uh-huh.
I really liked his version of Constantine. I enjoy the snarkiness, and I've seen the Constantine movie. I've seen Keanu Reeves do it, and
Ooh.
I know. I thought he did a really good job of encapsulating what he is in the comics. Not just the way he looked, which is also very true to what the comic books did, but I really think that he did a good job portraying the character I know as John Constantine.
Okay, so you are coming at this from a perspective of a book reader, of a comic book reader. Is that right?
Well, I'm still working my way through the first one, but I don't know Hellblazer as well as I know other shows, other comics. That being said, where I am in the comics, I know Constantine
Okay.
somewhat well.
And Olivia, I assume you're all caught up on Constantine the comic book?
What was the question?
I assume you're all caught up on the Constantine comic books? Up to date?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was exactly what I was doing right before we started this podcast. Was
Right.
brushing up on my DC comic universe.
Yeah, you were managing your DC Tumblr, posting some pictures, some screen caps,
Was
the
fangirling super hard. It was yeah.
yeah. No, as our normal note is that Olivia and I are not comic book readers. Sophia very much is. So Sophia's our comic book specialist. Comes on to talk comic.
Yes, I am.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think his performance was the problem. I'll say that. I think
I agree.
he was just fine, right? Olivia, would you say
Yeah.
that Matt Ryan was fine as the lead?
I think he was fantastic. He was actually the saving grace of the show for me when everything else
Yep.
was just not
Yep.
even close to being there.
Pretty much, basically, my entire point, my rating is him.
Yeah.
At this point, I've pretty much given it a 7 out of 10 based solely on Matt Ryan.
You know what? And fair enough. Fair play to you,
Yeah.
because
Thank you.
he was very good in this pilot. He's charming and he does the whole bad boy with a heart of gold thing that we've seen a million times before. But again, that's not his fault.
yeah.
That's the character's fault.
Well, it's the interpretation of the character.
I felt like on the subject of that interpretation, I felt like that was very soft pedaled. Like this is such a he is so clearly a generic hero on this show, and like there's no effort to make him edgy in any way. I felt like the edgiest he gets is delivering one-liners. And my very limited understanding of the Constantine comics, which you can certainly correct me on if I have misinterpreted it, is that he's a more edgy character in the comic books. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
He absolutely is. I mean, one of the major things, there are two major things about him that a lot of the fans love, and it's one that he smokes even though he's dying, even though he has cancer. And two is that he's bisexual.
Really?
And those are both very important things in the comics, and they totally take that out.
Yeah, not present in this pilot.
And that is completely not present. And I think they're trying to replace his smoking vice with alcohol, and I don't see how that's better. Like,
no.
I'm sorry.
No.
And the whole point is that he smokes even though he knows he's going to die because he knows he's going to hell, and there's no way to stop it.
Right, but that's Mulaney made the same decision, and I'm going to compare Constantine to Mulaney here, which tells you about how high I think of Constantine. But like, you're right, like alcohol is also a way to kill yourself, but at the same time it doesn't have the same social connotation as smoking. It's, when we're talking about edginess, which is the term I used to introduce him, alcohol is not as edgy as smoking. Alcohol is something that every frat boy in America does, whereas smoking is still seen as sort of more taboo. You can't smoke in restaurants. You can certainly drink alcohol in restaurants. For Mulaney, a lot of John Mulaney's stand-up jokes were reworded for his pilot to take out to soften the wording in the same way that we're sort of softening these traits, and that seems like it just, you lose something essential with that, whether you're talking about stand-up or a dramatic character, because I thought the Jean Constantine character was such a nothing. Like, I like the performance, but that character is a character we've seen 24 times in the last 5 years on television. He's absolutely nothing new. He brought nothing to the table. The character, not the actor. It's just there's just nothing there. Like, I don't know how to describe him except a little sarcastic. Like, that's all I've got. Like, a little sarcastic. And it seems like with a pilot that's centered around him, I should have a little bit more than that, I would think. So
I'm trying to find
a
place to disagree, but I can't.
Olivia, what were your thoughts on the character? Yeah.
It definitely had, like, where he had the potential to be kind of like the anti-hero, where they could have taken it to what Sophia was saying, like how he's portrayed in the comics. And I'm like, I would have loved to see that, just not only from like just having a representational standpoint of actually seeing a bisexual man represented on a major television show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also just adding a dimension to his character that just like it kind of like there was enough that you were kind of like wanting to see more, but not so much that you were like really, really interested. And that was my other problem with Liv, which I mean, like, I share my name with her, and that was very disappointing. So it was the most watered down version of a character I've seen in a while.
Yep.
Your namesake let you down.
Yeah.
I think
the only reason she was there, I mean, I know that the reason she's not coming back is because the writers decided to go a different way
Yeah.
with it. But the reason they kept her and didn't film a new pilot is solely because she looks and is similar to Rachel Weisz. And she was like the major woman in the Constantine movie. And so
Yeah.
I think that that's like the only reason that they kept her, is that they paid homage like to that. And to me, that's very frustrating, because I don't want to spend time, especially in a pilot. It's important that you start to understand the character groundwork, and to have a character that is in it for one episode is fine, but do not make her the main character.
Right.
That's just not, like, we are meeting John Constantine through her.
Yes.
And it didn't work.
It was very clear that this pilot was shot with the intention of her being the co-lead of this series.
Yeah.
And then the last scene where she leaves the show was tacked on way afterwards, when she wasn't around anymore, after the decision had been made to cut her, but to inexplicably retain the rest of the pilot, even though the pilot was introducing her, and she is our point of view character.
Yeah. It would have been a far better pilot had they just reshot it with the other woman in it.
Yeah.
That would have been, I think, everybody would be talking a way different game if they had just trashed that pilot completely.
Yeah, well, I think it should have been trashed completely for a variety of reasons. Not just that. But I don't know. I want to ask Olivia this because Sophia, you have a bit of a leg up because you've read some of the comics. But Olivia, did you understand what was happening in this pilot, just in a general sense? Because I did not.
Vaguely. It just, I feel like the exposition was like ridiculously long, and it was like it took me forever. Like once I knew what was happening, I was like, okay, I kind of see what they're trying to do, but it's just, it took forever to lead into that and to try to get the audience to kind of follow what was happening. And just based off of people's reactions on Twitter, where like everyone is like, what the hell is happening right now? It wasn't just me.
Like 20 minutes in, I thought this was American Horror Story. Like, this was, first of all, there were like 3 scenes where it was like straight up horror movies, like in the back of the ambulance with the body bag. Like, I was like, okay, well, this is going to be a horror show. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of into that. I'll take that. But then, like, 5 minutes later and through the rest of the episode, it just became like the most cliche of all supernatural procedurals. Like, it went just by the book, trope through trope, and cut out that element of the show entirely, which makes me think the horror thing was kind of an accident. But I don't know, Sophia, like, what did you make of the story here? Can you give us any insight, or what's going on here?
I mean, I don't know. I was watching it and I didn't really know what was going on. There was so much, they relied so much on intensity.
Yeah.
And not enough on like laying down the foundations for what the rest of the season was going to be. Because there were all these like, bam, this person's dead, and bam, this person's getting attacked, and like demons, cockroaches, blood, demons, death.
Yeah.
Just one after the other, and it kept happening, and I didn't know what the point was on some level. And you know, Astra is from the comics and Nargal is from the comics, but I don't understand exactly why they just chose to focus so much time on nothing that had to do with the plot overall.
Yeah, there was this stretch early on where it was just like scene after scene where it was like eyeless corpse, angel, train crash, car crash, eyeless corpse. Like, it just rapid fire one after another, and I didn't have any sense of who the villain was in this episode. I know it was the bad demon or something, but who was banished at the end or whatever. But
yeah,
I had no sense of who that was or what significance he had. Or
doesn't really matter.
But that's a problem.
I know.
That's a problem.
I am absolutely not disagreeing with you. I was very disappointed in this. And like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I absolutely have to change my rating, because I can't contest. I can, because this gets released after my review does. So boom.
No, I already locked you in.
I don't care.
This is going up tomorrow morning because I want to lock you into this review. Oh.
Anyway, I can't find a reason to contest anything you're saying, and I want to. I do. I'm still going to review the show because I believe that it can get better. But I don't watch a lot of shows on NBC. I watch no shows on NBC, so I don't know what it's like, if this is a normal thing for pilots to be really weak and then it to get better. I have no idea. So I'm just sort of, I'm going to hold on because I'm reviewing it, but I'm nervous.
Okay. Well, that's a fair attitude to have. And I don't want you to change your rating, which is why I made you say it at the top, because I knew this was going to go badly. Because I had a good idea of how Olivia felt about it, even though we didn't talk in advance.
Yeah, pretty much.
I had a good sense. I've talked with Olivia about a lot of pilots this season, and I knew this one didn't go well for her. and I knew.
Well, no, I'm not going to change my rating. I just want to find a way to make a 7 seem negative.
Yeah, maybe maybe you'll just use gifs of Matt Ryan. Maybe that's the entire.
I'll just that can be it. My entire review will be gifs of Matt Ryan telling the story.
Yes,
it'll work.
Okay, so Olivia, going forward, is there any fix you can see with this show? Is there anything you would hope for that, like by episode 5, if this is a better show, that it would make any changes it would make, like ideas?
If anything, I would want to see like more definition with the characters, because it's like they had such an idea of what they wanted to do with Constantine and like his character, and just based off of what Sophia was saying, like it would have been really, really awesome to see like them add these elements of him from the comic book. But like, as a female watching it, there was no pull for me to be watching it. Like there was no dynamic with Liv or the other female characters. And when we weren't seeing that, it was the female characters getting murdered.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
that was a problem. That was a big problem.
It's usually catering to a male demographic, but at the same time, I'm sitting here like, all right, guys, like, come on now. We can do better than this.
Yeah. And also, it's like, hey, a lot of guys are tired of watching every woman on screen get murdered. Like, it'd be great. It'd be great if that wasn't. If shows didn't need to just go back to that. Like, that's what was so upsetting about Stalker, is like the very first scene is a woman being lit on fire, and it's like, really, like that's your go-to. Like, you can't come up with something just a little like better. Like, and that's the sense I had here. It's like, oh well, we're just gonna put women in peril, and that's gonna be our big shock device.
Well, it was also like Constantine knew that her neighbor was gonna die.
Yeah,
and that was horrible. I was watching that, and I was like, that's not no that. I don't believe that just happened on screen. He would not save her and then not save. I mean, I know he's one of those people that takes life and death kind of not. He's kind of like whatever about it, but still, that's for a show to choose to do that. That raises a lot of questions for me.
Yeah, I think. I mean,
like, of all the things to pull out of the comics, that's not the one you want.
No.
That makes sense. Yeah, for me, I was most interested when the show was doing weird stuff at the start. Like I think the most effective scene of this whole pilot was the back of the ambulance with the woman, with like it going dark, and then the woman appears like behind him suddenly, like a horror movie. Like, if you could do cool visual stuff, you can make it work, and the evidence for that is Hannibal, which is in the same time slot as this show. It just airs at a different time of year. And so for me, the Constantine creators need to scrap whatever they're doing, take a breather, cut the first season short, watch every episode of Hannibal, hire...
And then redo it.
Yeah, hire everyone they can from the Hannibal team, and then redo this as Hannibal.
Because it has potential to be great.
Sure.
If they went dark and gritty and gross, it would be awesome. It would be, because we know the effects can do it. The effects were awesome. The effects were super cool. Like, and I would like that demon effect. I actually tweeted that I would make out with it. I don't know why. That's what I thought.
Oh boy.
So, I mean, I think that the show has a lot of potential, but it's just not at all right now where it needs to be.
Yeah, and it's funny you're talking about effects, because I think the show needs to be on FX, the network.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
That would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
that'd be cool.
Because then he could smoke, and then he could be like a badass and not this like watered down, sanded edges character.
Right.
And then we could get some real stuff happening. You know, it could be like a Shield or something, where like there's like a real anti-hero at the center of this, and we could really buckle down and tell something of a hard-hitting story.
Yep.
And as it stands, it feels like this show is just doing a Grimm impression. And that's a huge problem, because Grimm is campy in all the right ways, and I feel like this was campy in all the wrong ways. And
it's like I'm rooting for it to fail so that it can get picked up and do something else.
The property
so
can be
picked
sold
up and get it Yes, exactly. I don't want it to fail because I want to see it through and hope that it gets better. And maybe this pilot is just all a bad dream, you know. But I have a feeling that's not going to happen, and that makes me sad. And I'm kind of rooting for it to be like to be a dud, and then have someone else in like 2 years do it again.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest solution. Sadly. All right, Olivia, final verdict. Thumbs up, thumbs down on Constantine.
Yeah, from what I saw tonight, I have to give it a thumbs down. I'm not a fan.
Sophia.
I'm.
It's a tough one.
It is. Oh my God. I feel like I'm trying to just look at it episode by episode. Mm-hmm. I'm giving it. If it was solely.
Hold on. No. I need to clarify what thumbs up, thumbs down means. It means, should people watch this show? So it's not just like, it's not, you know, your rating of your pilot is the rating of the pilot. The thumbs up, thumbs down is if someone is listening to this podcast and they haven't watched the episode, should they watch this show? Should they commit time to it?
Yes, I'm going to say thumbs up because of Matt Ryan, because of the effects. That's it. That's all I'll say. That's literally, that's all I'm saying. Nothing else is good about it.
I'm proud of you for staying strong. I'm very happy you stayed strong with that, because the 3 thumbs downs depress me when we rate a show 3 thumbs downs, and I am very much giving this a thumbs down, as if that wasn't clear. But
no, it's totally sure. I'm begrudging on many levels, you know. Right. But I'll let you guys know how it is every Friday night.
No, I'll probably tweet it, just because a lot of people I like watch it, so I'll probably tweet it. All right, Sophia, how can people keep up with you?
Keep up with me on Twitter. My handle is @SophiaMPorter. I'm on there quite a lot, and you know, that's really it. On Twitter. It's Friday. I'm tired.
Tired and grumpy.
Tired and very grumpy.
Constantine, NBC, tired and grumpy.
Sophia now has to write a review about it.
Oh, that's like the tagline. That's under the title. All right. So that concludes this episode of the ShowRatings.tv Pilot Roundtable. We invite you to check out this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts at southgatemediagroup.com, and to read about, rate, and discuss all your favorite shows at ShowRatings.tv. You can follow me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV, Olivia at RichardsOlivia, and ShowRatings at ShowRatingsTV. Until next time, thanks for listening.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.